Hey guys, good morning. This morning I want to share with you the one thing I did to hack my brain to make a lot of money over the last 3 decades with crypto, stocks, real estate, business. And so I want to share with you, this one huge thing that I wish I knew when I was like 19 years old. That's helped make me millions and millions of dollars. And they don't teach you this in school. And I wish they would. It's so simple. You can actually do this hack at home. And after I give you this hack, I'm gonna give you the hack at the end of the video. It's an engagement thing, right? Because we want people to really dial in on this. But before I give you this hack, remind me in the comments though if I ADD off. I'm going to tell you what I think about the crypto markets right now, AI stocks, quantum stocks, small nuclear stocks, precious metals, and what I'm doing right now. And a lot of you guys want to know what I'm doing. So, a couple things. I took some profits actually on some stuff that I was run up crazy amounts and over the last couple weeks. Not huge profits. I didn't sell off everything. So I have what I call a long-term vault. And I have this vault for real estate, crypto, stocks, and precious metals. So let me walk you through my process that works for me, and you can do what you want to do, okay? So first things first, usually once a month, I will go and buy 1 ounce of physical gold, American issued gold, which are American Eagles. The reason why, though, and you can talk to your CPA, there's different tax consequences, and foreign gold has different tax consequences when you sell. Now, obviously, you need to pay your taxes, but it can save you a lot of paperwork when you're selling vast amounts if you ever need to. I like to go to All About Coins here in Salt Lake City, Utah. If you go in there and you ask for Alex or Bob and tell them Dan sent you, their prices are just killer. And they usually have a pretty robust stock. And if you're going to be buying precious metals online, I've bought some from apmex.com. Their prices seem pretty fair. But again, I like to support local and their prices are better anyway. So typically, so that's where I do that with precious metals. This is like a long-term vault thing, and I typically do not sell this gold. I still have gold that I've bought back in the late 90s, and I think it's a good thing to continually accumulate. And it's not one that cash flows or anything, but, you know, it's like food storage and ammo and things like that. It's like if crap hits the fan, great to have. Now, let's talk about stocks and real estate. For stocks, I have an account that's fairly illiquid. It's custodianed by actually one of my mentors in stocks. His name is Mike Tempest, and he's a great guy. And I typically don't sell stuff out of that bucket. And I have big stuff in there that I like that's long-term. Apple, I'm not saying you should buy this, not financial advice, but like from years, Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, some of these bigger company plays, large cap that have good cash flow, and the returns aren't as exponential as these quantum stocks or AI stocks, but again, they're not as volatile, and they're real companies that have had decades of success. Amazon's a great example of that too. Multiple income streams, okay? And I love those, and I just don't mess with those, okay? Now, if I need money for the business, so let's say I need a couple $1 million or something, now, on these, you can typically tap what's called a margin loan against that. This is not like mega leverage to buy stocks. But, for example, if I have $10 million sitting in one account and I need $2 million or whatever, I can tap it like a credit line, pull $2 million, buy the property or whatever I want to buy, and then pay it off fairly quickly. And the interest rate, for example, like at Fidelity right now, they're charging 6.5% interest, which is actually pretty low for that kind of loan. So that way I don't have to sell my stocks and have a taxable event. Because if I sell my stock to buy another investment, in many cases there's a big tax consequence, even though it's long-term capital gains versus short-term, which is a lot less. This way I can tap that. You can also do this actually with Bitcoin now. Now, at Coinbase, they offer some sort of way you can loan against it. It's pretty cool. They have a Coinbase One program and stuff, so you can get some discounted fees and things. But instead of selling your Bitcoin, so let's say you bought Bitcoin for 20 grand and it went up to 100 grand, 108, 9,000, whatever it is today, and you want to borrow and you have $1 million, you need 200 grand really quick to do whatever real estate transaction. You can simply go there to Coinbase, and typically it'll let you bring it out to USDC, which you can just withdraw into your bank account within a day or two. So very easy to work with. This also applies with real estate. Look into HELOC, home equity line of credit. If you have equity in your home, which a lot of you guys do, you can get almost like a revolving credit line. And usually mine, I think, is under 7%. It's like 6.6 or something like that. It changes according to rates. But again, if I need a few $1,000,000 to transact on a deal or fund inventory for one of my companies, I can exercise that line to fund the purchase orders and then quickly pay that off. Now, the cool thing about that, though, is then I don't have to sell my real estate, which I don't want to do, and have a taxable event or be forced to do a 1031 exchange, which means you find another property within a short period of time, you buy that and you avoid tax consequence. Not that I don't use those tools, but if you do this, you can have a huge amount of money on tap without selling your assets. This is hypercritical for you to do. Now, how much do I allocate to, let's say, AI stocks and quantum stocks and crypto and things like that? I try to target usually about 10% of my net worth in each one of those buckets. Sometimes it goes higher because we take a big run up. But then I usually, at a certain point in time, if they've run up like crazy, so I'll take profits and I move them to more boring assets like commercial real estate. And I roll this cycle every 4 years, typically. Now, what to do right now? So, like I talked about in my previous video, you're going to see two big factors right now. Government shutdown, and you're going to see tariffs still in play with China, this struggle. But China needs America because Americans are the biggest customer, and we don't have the manufacturing yet fully up to speed to manufacture everything we need here. And so that deal is going to get worked out. There's now I'm not saying you should invest in this, but there's this ETF called YINN, yin, like yin and yang, and it's like 3x leveraged. It's kind of like a big basket of Chinese stocks, which are interesting. And if you look at this chart, again, this is just for research purposes, but it takes a major correction when there's tensions with China, and as soon as that's resolved, it tends to run up. So I encourage you just like to look at that chart just for research purposes. Again, I can't tell you what to buy as a hedge fund manager, but I can tell you interesting projects and companies and what they're doing. And you do your research, talk to a financial professional. Look, what do I know? I'm just a crypto nerd and tech nerd that's been doing it for 3 decades. Kind of funny, last night I went and spoke at the X Room with Sean Finnegan, and it's this group of like entrepreneurs that gets together. There's like 300 of them. And I was talking to some of my old mentors. Jeff Flam was there, and it was just wonderful to see all these young entrepreneurs getting really excited. And a lot of them were asking me, what should I invest in? I actually got a message from an entrepreneur who's a musician or rapper guy. And he said, dude, I just got this big bag of money. Can I invest it with you, or what should I put it into? As you know, for Ugly Unicorn Crypto Hedge Fund, you have to be an accredited investor. So $1 million net worth besides your primary residence. And there's different income qualifications, 200 grand a year for a couple of years. If you're single, a few hundred grand if you're married. You can Google the exact specs on that. But he's not accredited. But the first thing I recommended him to do is, look, man, I can't tell you what to buy, but I would open a Fidelity account and a Coinbase account if you want to start touching into crypto. And I wouldn't go full bag in. So if he got this big bag from his deal, I wouldn't put all his money into that. I wouldn't go out and buy Lambos and crazy stuff and that. I would dollar cost average into positions and get educated on how crypto works and how quantum computing works and AI and tech and all that. And I would dollar cost average in. And so those of you right now that are wondering, man, where's it going to go? Like we took in the last few days major drops in AI and quantum and crypto, and then it seems to be perking up today. I wouldn't go all in today, but I did make a few buys this morning, but again, I kind of get my toes wet, and then we're going to see the sentiment of that, because as soon as the tariff thing and the shutdowns, government shutdown gets resolved, then you're going to see people piling in, because when people sell off to go all to cash and they hold huge amounts of cash on the sidelines, they're earning literally almost 0%, unless they're in some sort of money markets or treasury or bonds or something like that, where they're making 4 or 5%, maybe 10% on like STRC if they think that Michael Saylor's deal is going to be good. But remember, even that 10% yield in STRC, if Bitcoin takes a massive correction, which it has before, is probably going to get hurt. And that 10% yield is going to be nothing compared to the actual stock price drop in that type of product. So you got to be careful about that. I wouldn't go full ape, into that. But I would look at some of these companies I've been talking about, like D-Wave and OKLO, and some of these that are interesting companies. A lot of small nuclear. There's a nuclear ETF called NUKZ, Nukes, which buys a whole bunch of small nuclear different projects. So if you don't want to buy one company, that's one that you could do some research on. But again, this is a very volatile arena because it's emerging. And then whenever you're into an emerging volatile arena, you can make insane gains, but you can have insane losses, and you have to budget that in your brain. So I would still recommend people keep a majority of a lot of their holdings into more diversified broad baskets and ETFs and things like that. Again, you can talk to your financial advisors. This is what I do. And to make it really simple for new investors, a lot of them will look at indexes like the NASDAQ QQQ and Vanguard S&P 500 index, VOO, and a lot of times they'll just put a certain amount of money a month in there and just not think about it, right? Go buy a little bit of gold. You don't have to buy 1 ounce. You don't even have to buy physical gold. You can buy digital gold like GLD and things like that. So SLV for silver. So if you don't want to hold it, the nice thing about holding it, a lot of people like, is it's cool to kind of play with it. It's a collectible as well. And it's easily transactable to cash if you just need cash on the go. You can walk into All About Coins, give them a little bit of silver or gold, they'll give you some money, you're good to go, right? So very simple transaction if you need small money, okay? Now, a lot of people have been asking me about leverage. And so there's 2 ways you can actually leverage, and I don't like leverage, but you can buy ETFs like I think it's AGC or AGQ, I don't remember the symbol, but they have a 2x silver ETF, and so basically they amplify if silver goes up like double, then that would go up. They target going up twice that amount. Now again, twice the amount up, twice the amount down, and if it drops 50% though, then that leverage position could drop 100%. So now another thing people do is you'll see them do leverage on crypto, 5x, 10x. And our hedge fund, we don't leverage. And Bridger and I were talking the other day, like a lot of competing hedge funds that we've seen out there just completely shut down this last week or two because they were leveraged. So how that works in a nutshell, and I think I explained it before, but they would bet that if Bitcoin goes up or whatever crypto, it's leveraged 10x. But if it drops below a certain price, then it gets liquidated, meaning it goes to 0. So it's almost like an option in a sense, a right to buy it at this massive leveraged amount, right? That's another way some people, quote, leverage in a way, is they buy options. And options are a right to buy a certain stock or ETF or whatnot at a certain price. We call it a strike price at a certain time in the future. So if you bought a December strike price of $60 on, let's say, an Ethereum ETF, you could make exponential gains. Let's say if you bought it December 19th, but if it expired out, you're screwed. And if Ethereum dropped massively below that strike price, then you're done. So very risky. And if you want to do it, you can. I do it sometimes, but like you're talking minuscule amounts of money in your portfolio, because typically it doesn't end well unless you have some crystal ball, right? So that's something you want to be careful of. All right, guys, I want to give you that piece of advice that really helped me make all this crazy money and over the years. And it's the morning ritual. I'm not talking about red light, cold plunges, meditation. All that stuff's important and all that, but I don't spend too much time on that early in the morning. I actually usually do that kind of midday or evening after my hard work is done. But the first thing you want to do in the morning is this. Like, turn off your phone for like the first 15 minutes, okay? Get a big glass of clean, purified water, filtered or whatnot. Make sure it doesn't have any weird chemicals in it. I like Relight. I put 1 scoop of that. It's called Relight by Redmond Farms. In there, and some HMB, and that helps maintain muscle mass. Again, I take a plethora of vitamins, and you guys know I do take some till it comes back. Okay, I'm back. So you want to go see your doctor, get your blood work done and all that kind of stuff, and make sure you have good hormone balance. And again, you want to exercise. I mentioned move 30 minutes a day, heavy weights 3 days a week. Okay, that's your body hack with 8 hours of sleep if you can get it right. But the one big hack, the biggest of all hacks, first thing in the morning, review in your mind what went well yesterday. This is super important because you're programming your subconscious. And so I was like, man, we had a killer sales day yesterday for our computer tech companies. Awesome, man. The guys and girls are doing really good. They're making lots of money and they're taking care of their families and they're investing. So super happy. Also, I got to speak at X, Bridger and I, impromptu at the X event. So that was awesome. Got to help a lot of entrepreneurs out there and got to see one of my first mentors, Jeff Lamb. Started mentoring when I was 19 there, and we were like playing with AI and making funny pictures of ourselves. So it was awesome. So that was another blessing. Got to spend time with my daughter. Got to spend time with my wife. Got to talk to my sons. Got to pet my pugs. Got to take some profits on some of my investments. Got to deploy in some other investments. So overall, I spent 5-10 minutes just going over like what went well. The reason why I do this though is it primes my brain for today in anticipation of what's going to go well today. And you'll find that this compounds. So if you recognize what went well yesterday, because you can always find what's wrong, right? But it's really hard to find what's right. And if you do that first thing when you wake up, I guarantee you your brain's going to approach your day much differently, and you'll probably do a lot better. And if you consistently do this year after year after year after year, people are going to call you lucky, because you're going to emanate this energy, this power of being able to be like, why is that dude always so happy? Is he on drugs or what is it? No, man, you're just grateful for what God gave you, and you're executing on it every single day. And that gratitude, makes a big difference. All right. So what can you do to help me? Because how much is this video costing you? 100 grand? Do I want you to subscribe and spend 10,000 a month or something? No, I don't want that. You can subscribe to my Instagram here. There's like a paid subscription. It's like $20 a month if you want to come to our events and things like that. And I answer more personal Q&A for people that are doing that. And the reason is I don't care about your $20. I just care that you actually took an effort instead of this, because a lot of times you just give free information to people and they don't do anything about it. But if you're paying $20 like to Netflix or whatever, you're probably going to watch a show every month, right? And actually watch a show, right? So if you want, subscribe now. But what you can do, the most important thing is take massive action. Like right now, go through this gratitude in your mind of what went well yesterday. Like right after this video, do this, okay? And then comment below how you feel. Okay. Then take a moment and share this video so we can help more other people. Because if you just are a taker and you're taking this knowledge I give you and it helps you, that's great. But if you can help other people, that will amplify your success. Because I believe the universe knows, like, man, like he or she took a massive effort to not only help themselves, but to help other people. This is why I do it. This is why I make these videos for you, because the blessings that have come to me from helping you guys, crazy. And that's why I'm addicted to it and I love doing it. All right, guys, share this. Be grateful. I love you. Have a great day. Do not ape all in completely. Watch my videos on dollar cost averaging. And I think your life's going to be pretty darn good. Work hard. Execute.